Long before skyscrapers or subways, the land that would become New York City was shaped by ice. During the last ice age, massive glaciers carved the landscape, leaving behind rivers, rocky hills, fertile soil, and one of the finest natural harbors in the world. As the ice retreated, forests grew, animals flourished, and waterways connected the land to the sea. For thousands of years before Europeans arrived, Native American peoples lived here. The most well-known group in the region was the Lenape, also called the Delaware people. The Lenape did not build cities of stone or steel. Instead, they lived in villages, farmed corn, beans, and squash, hunted deer and fish, and traveled the rivers by canoe. They understood the seasons, the land, and the balance of nature. To them, Manhattan was not a commodity. It was home. The island was called Mannahatta, meaning island of many hills. It was green, alive, and full of resources. The rivers and harbor made it a crossroads long before anyone imagined it becoming a world capital. In 1524, an Italian explorer named Giovanni de Verrazzano, sailing for France, entered the great harbor between what we now call Staten Island and Brooklyn. He described a beautiful, sheltered bay, one of the finest he had ever seen. But no settlement followed. Europe was still exploring, still deciding where power and profit lay. Nearly a century later, in 1609, another explorer arrived, Henry Hudson, sailing for the Dutch. Hudson was searching for a shortcut to Asia. He never found it, but instead, he sailed up the river that now bears his name. His reports convinced Dutch merchants that this land was valuable, especially for the fur trade. That decision would change history. In 1624, the Dutch established a small settlement at the southern tip of Manhattan Island. They called it New Amsterdam. It was not built to be a great city. It was built to make money. The Dutch West India Company controlled the colony. Its goal was trade, especially beaver pelts, which were extremely valuable in Europe. The settlement grew slowly, with wooden houses, dirt streets, and a fort for protection. One famous story says the Dutch bought Manhattan from the Lenape for goods worth about 60 guilders. The reality was more complex. The Lenape did not believe land could be owned permanently, while the Dutch believed it could. This misunderstanding marked the beginning of centuries of displacement and loss for native peoples. New Amsterdam was small, rough, and diverse. People from many backgrounds lived there: Dutch, German, African, Jewish, and others. Slavery existed from the beginning, and enslaved Africans played a major role in building the colony. The settlement was poorly defended and often disorganized, but it had something powerful: diversity and tolerance, at least by the standards of the time. That spirit would become one of New York's defining traits. In 1664, British warships sailed into the harbor. The Dutch, outnumbered and unprepared, surrendered without a fight. New Amsterdam became New York, named after the Duke of York. Under British rule, the city grew more structured and more controlled. Trade expanded, but so did inequality. Wealth concentrated among elites, while working people struggled. Slavery expanded. By the early 1700s, nearly 1 in 5 people in New York City was enslaved. Despite this, New York grew into a major colonial city, second only to Philadelphia and Boston in importance. When tensions between the American colonies and Britain exploded in the 1770s, New York was deeply divided. Some residents supported independence. Others remained loyal to the British Crown. In 1776, after the Declaration of Independence, New York became a major battlefield. British forces defeated George Washington's army and occupied the city. For 7 long years, New York served as the British military headquarters in North America. Fires destroyed large parts of the city. Disease spread. Prison ships in the harbor became floating death camps for captured American soldiers. When the war finally ended in 1783, British troops evacuated, and George Washington triumphantly returned. New York was free, but deeply scarred. For a brief but important time, New York City became the capital of the United States. George Washington was inaugurated as the first president at Federal Hall on Wall Street in 1789. The Bill of Rights was drafted nearby. Though the capital soon moved, New York had proven its national importance. Now, it turned toward the future. In 1825, the opening of the Erie Canal transformed New York forever. The canal connected the Hudson River to the Great Lakes, turning New York City into the main gateway between America's interior and the world. Goods flowed in. Wealth followed. New York exploded in size, population, and power. From the mid-1800s into the early 1900s, millions of immigrants arrived in New York. Irish fleeing famine, Germans escaping political unrest, Italians seeking opportunity, Jews escaping persecution. Later, people from Asia, Latin America, and the Caribbean. Ellis Island became the doorway to America. Many arrived poor. Many faced discrimination. But they built neighborhoods, businesses, cultures, and traditions that reshaped the city. Many arrived poor. Many faced discrimination. But they built neighborhoods, businesses, cultures, and traditions that reshaped the city. New York became the most diverse city on earth. In 1898, New York City consolidated into 5 boroughs: Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, and Staten Island. Engineers built bridges, tunnels, and subways. Steel skyscrapers rose higher than anything the world had seen. The city became a symbol of modern life. The Great Depression brought hardship. World War II brought industry and power. But after the war, the city struggled. Crime rose. Jobs disappeared. The 1970s nearly bankrupted New York. Yet New York did not die. Artists, activists, and everyday people rebuilt it, block by block. Today, New York City is a global center of finance, culture, media, technology, and art. It is loud, crowded, unequal, inspiring, exhausting, and alive. It is still becoming. New York City has never been finished. It is a place shaped by countless lives, decisions, mistakes, and dreams. Every generation remakes it. As long as people keep arriving, building, arguing, and imagining, New York's story will continue.